No, but I just love the
Guy
the
Ritchie's
cultural
best
crossover.
work, I tell you, unbelievable.
Guy Ritchie's best work, admittedly, a low bar.
Oh, come on.
Okay, defiance that it is for Robbie. Tom?
Well, I'm off to work out what tipping point is, but I like formal in the first.
Can't let it go, can he?
I mean, look, it's they'll be on catch up somewhere, and I'll go for Mr. Baloo in the penultimate race there, and hope that I can beat the Jungle Bookies. Nope, doesn't work. Never mind, got to go, didn't we? let's get the panel's best bets. Starting off, I wonder what it could be, Robbie.
It's going to be Defiance. I'm also going to throw in a TV show recommendation, Mobland on Paramount Plus.
Love it.
You watched it?
No, but I just love the
Guy
cultural
Ritchie's
crossover.
best work. I tell you, unbelievable.
Guy Ritchie's best work, admittedly, a low bar.
Oh, come on.
Okay, Defiance that it is for Robbie. Tom?
Well, I'm off to work out what tipping point is, but I like formal in the first.
Can't let it go, can he?
I mean, look, they'll be on catch up somewhere, and I'll go for Mr. Baloo in the penultimate race there, and hope that I can beat the jungle bookies. No, doesn't work. Never mind. Got to go, didn't we? There you go. That was last night on In the Know as we previewed Oaks Day at Epsom. And the producers have stitched us right up, haven't they? A winning nap for Tom Segal, but myself and Robbie Wilders with a loser there. But they kept it in the clip anyway. But Formal absolutely dotted up for price-wise, of course, in that opening contest. And I do believe a bit of an anti-post ticket might have been landed by the great man himself as well in today's big race, as it was, unsurprisingly, and Aidan O'Brien won too with Mini Hawk, Ryan Moore making the difference, beating Whirl, and they were well clear of the Godolphin Hot Pot, who definitely stayed, but did not get the best trip through. Apart from that, it was pretty much a tale of jockeys, wasn't it? Ryan Moore also outrode Mikel Barcelona, or certainly Calandagan potentially got himself beat again. They certainly didn't geld him by accident, did they? He's got a few of his own ideas about the game. Oisin Murphy was in fantastic form. Sylvester de Souza from the front at Epsom as well. Look, again, we spent ages going through the form book, watching replays, speed ratings and all that jazz. But the best traders, the best jockeys and the horses with the best breeding tend to win on days like today. Will that continue on Saturday at Epsom? We've got a cracking lineup. Father Derby, of course, a huge field, but all the right kind of horses. Ballysax winners, Dante winners, you name it, Guineas winners, and plenty much more besides. Quite a few of them taking pot shots or tilting at windmills, as it were. But we'll see if we can find a lay, and a big priced outsider in the big race tomorrow, and also go through the rest of the card, which I've been reliably informed by our panel is absolutely tip-top. Every other race is an absolute banger. Let's not talk about that, shall we? Anyway, let's see who's on tonight's panel. Of course, you at home for a start, because we are live and interactive. Make sure you like, subscribe and get involved on the chat. Hello to everyone who's already said hello. In particular, big shout out to George Murray, who had a Trixie up with Formal, Maximised and Mursky, and backed it last night at the prices that certainly didn't return at SP, that's for sure. But in terms of our pundits for tonight, Robbie's unlucky fourth and shocking Guy Ritchie recommendation has got him booted off. And luckily, poor Kealy is back in the studio.
Oh yeah, you'd have booted me off. You'd have seen my selections for today.
Yeah,
they didn't go very well.
I do feel that you could also be a character in a Guy Ritchie series, potentially.
Go on then, which one?
I don't actually watch any of them, but I get the feeling, you know, you've got a bit of a, you know, you're a Londoner, aren't you? So that's it's all that, isn't it? It's all
sort of.
It's all sort of, yeah, sort of, yeah. You're over Epsom way, and you'll have your thumb out for the wind and checking the rain tomorrow, won't you?
Yeah, it's very strange. I've obviously been monitoring it all week, looking at the different websites, predicting all sorts. I mean, one website yesterday was saying it was just literally going to be torrential all day tomorrow, but that seems to have sort of disappeared, but it's replaced by a thunderstorm warning, so we don't know what they're going to get, how much. They are going to get something. Andrew Keeper said this morning he's expecting it to be soft ground for the opening race, so we'll have to see where we go. If it's a bog, it makes it quite interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it does in theory, yes, because you might get the old near side
I don't think that
attack.
happened. I'm not sure that ever happens on Derby Day because the rail is right in. I can't remember Derby ever being run on the stand side.
I guess, yeah, it happened at Snowfalls Oaks, obviously.
Yeah, but it's that's on the Friday when the rail's out just that little bit further.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that'll happen, but it still makes it interesting.
It does make it interesting. What did you make of today? Again, like I said, it is kind of, it's not frustrated because it's right there in front of us, isn't it? But track position at every track is key. But the best jockeys today, you could call the winners a furlong or two into the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's O'Brien and Moore, isn't it? I mean, we're probably going to do the same today. To come up with loads of reasons why Delacroix can't win the Derby, and you know, why Moore's chosen the wrong one in the Oaks. Like pretty much everybody thought he had, and look what happened. I mean, it is O'Brien and Moore. That's what they do, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what they do so well.
Well, in that, I would give a shout out to Oisin Orr, by the way, who'd never ridden at Epsom. Came today, rode 2 horses of Richard Fahey, won on 128 to 1 shot, and got beat a short head in the other.
Absolutely, yeah, brilliant, yeah. And again, to Sousa in the last, he has, I think it was a couple of years ago, I had a look at all stats of jockeys at different distances, and him at 7 furlong and a mile at Epsom is just amazing.
Yeah.
Just really, really good.
Well, again, he made the decision early, didn't he, on Partisan Hero? He got out of the boxes. He was like, I know where I need to be, no messing around. Tom Segal, we were saying after a formal absolutely romped home in the first that, you know, great tip by yourself, but you're judged at SP these days, aren't you?
Right, yeah. Hopefully people who follow me and Keels and stuff take early prices. You know, no one's backing it at 9 to 4 on ours, on my suggestion or Keels' suggestion. You know, that they're backing it at the prices you can get when the tips come out. So hopefully.
This is the problem, though, isn't it? The prices go so quickly. And I was also going to say, hang on a minute. I mean, bookmakers take such defensive action. There's one that I tipped yesterday that was never going to be anything other than an outsider, and I backed it at 16 to 1, and it was always a big price. And next thing you know, he's 6 to 1.
Yeah,
he's gone off at 22 to 1 in the end today.
Well, because I feel like there's so little money in the market until about 20 minutes before the race.
Yeah, and don't you remember the one we had week before last or last week, Tom? Dashing Darcy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're looking at a 20 to 1 shot. Next thing you know, it went down to 7 to 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that price was more wrong than the 20 to 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it had been in at 7 to 2, we'd be saying these bookmakers are absolute clowns. What are they doing putting this horse at 7 to 2? It's got no chance.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then of course it went back out again. Like, you know, so I've no idea what's happening. The market's mad at the moment.
It does feel a little bit like that, yeah. I mean, Formal was 7 or 8 to 1 last night. To be fair, she was still 9 to 2 this morning, and then went off 9 to 4. There was some other, massive moves. Mursky was one of those. Very, very well handicapped. But again, David O'Mara in those handicaps, Oisin Murphy, and again after a furlong, I thought, well, I know why Mursky's been back. He's suddenly in an absolutely pitch perfect position.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard to come from behind today, wasn't it? I mean, nearly all the winners were up front. I thought Ryan Moore was exceptional. I thought, well, just Ballydoyle, just the thinking. I like thinking, Ross. Thinking's so important, as Blackadder used to tell Baldrick. Do you know what I mean? It is so important, and they get it right every time.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Appleby got it right in the Guineas, didn't he? And Will Buick got it right in the Guineas. I just like thinking, and just got everything spot on, didn't they? And Oisin Murphy. I've never been Oisin Murphy's biggest fan until this year. I think he's riding just so well. I think he's turned a corner with his mentally as well. You know, with the way he analyses races. I thought he was brilliant today. And it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And I really like the performance of the 2-year-old, Eve Johnson Horton's 2-year-old, Havana Hurricane or whatever it's called. Just made that fast dash, didn't it? I think maybe back at 5 furlongs in the Windsor Castle, he might be something to bet on.
And in terms of the Oaks as well, I mean, again, the first 4 were the first 4 from the get-go. I mean, I put it to you, Mr. Segal. Change the jockey, change the track position, change the result on the 1-2. But that's the point, isn't it? Wayne Lorden actually rode a really good race on World, but being intimidated down that rail with Mini Hawk and Ryan Moore in such inspired form. Not that Ballydoyle will be particularly bothered, will they? They'll be incredibly happy with the result. But what did you make of the big race?
I'm not convinced. I thought World got just a worldie of a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it got an absolute. You couldn't have given a better ride to any horse than World. I didn't think. They didn't. The time wasn't good. You know what I mean? They weren't that quick at the end. I thought she got an absolute peach of a ride. Just a better horse won. I was lucky enough to be on her at huge prices, so I certainly wasn't too worried, but too disappointed with the result. Unlike many who have said it was a bit of a dull fest. But listen, that's what they do, isn't it? Yeah. That's what Ballydoyle do.
Exactly. They make it look easy, but it's not. It's decades of experience, isn't it? So
absolutely, and it's decades of having. And what they can do is, if you got numbers, you can control races. Now, we'll get on to it. Keels and I will get on to the derby with yourself, Ross, in a minute. Not sure they'll be able to do it this time. I'm not sure they've got... I think they might try and send Lambourn forward, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see indeed. But again, it's famous last week. I'm not sure Ryan Moore's made the right choice. Not sure they'll be able to do that. And then again, after a furlong or two, you think, they've done it again. They've somehow managed to do it again. Okay, we've got Derby Day on the agenda then, coming up in just a second. Okay, you can pick your members club flavour at the Racing Post website. Let's get on to Epsom then on Derby Day. We're starting off with the Princess Elizabeth Stakes, a Group 3 here for fillies and mares over about 9 furlongs, and Royal Dress is 4-1 favourite here. Skellet is 9-2. Sirona and Bermuda Longtail are 5-1. Bright Thunder 13-2. Sparks Fly 8-1. Spiritual 8-1. Sheet Columbine is 10-1. And we've got Sunfall, Imperial Quarter and Kindest Nation all lining up here in an 11-runner race, where we've got a couple of nice little form lines being challenged, haven't we? The Middleton, of course, See the Fire absolutely dotting up. But those in behind, be interested to see how they perform going forward. A couple have come out and not necessarily disappointed, but not necessarily franked the form either. Race that works out really, really well in this contest going forward is the Conqueror Stakes. We've got a few from that. We've got Sirona, we've got Bright Thunder, we've got Sheet Columbine as well. The highly talented Skellet coming off the back of a break, and Bermuda Longtail for Connections, who, as we've seen, do very, very well at Epsom. It is absolutely wide open, and it includes a horse that you fancy that I haven't even mentioned, Keels.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've looked at the weather forecast and I thought to myself, well, there's plenty of horses with soft ground form in there, but there's one horse who has run 12 times on soft or heavy ground and won 9 of them, and that is Sparks Fly, and she's actually officially the best horse in the race as well, and routinely a front runner, and it's been very hard to get past on day one. So I thought she had plenty going for her. The one thing she doesn't have going for her is recent form, because she ran a stinker in France first time out, and that was in March. She has come back off similar breaks and run really well. So I will take a chance on her. I thought she was a little bit overpriced, to be honest. You can make cases for quite a few, can't you? Royal Dress is favourite. Probably didn't get home at York last time. Will Like the Ground was unlucky in this race last year, as was Sheep Columbine. You remember, it was a right messy race last year.
Oh yeah, it was a nightmare, wasn't it?
And she'll like the ground, but she has lost her form a lot. There's two horses that I'll be worried about. Spiritual. I think that has got the potential to go very well. Likes a bit of cutting the ground. Won a fair race at Sandown last year. And the one that really scares me, and now doubly scares me, is the one I tipped in the weekend, early in the week. And went off, and then I just noticed that Tom Segal has tipped it, so I'll let him take over, shall I?
Is that Bermuda Longtail by any chance, yes, given the way she's moved in the market for Balding and Murphy? Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Tom. Starting off with a well-bred filly in the first with Balding and Murphy. It worked today.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. She's a 3-year-old. I like 3-year-olds in the race. They've got a very good record. They've won it lots of times. Sheet Columbine should have won it last year. She was the only 3-year-old, or one of the only 3-year-olds in it. I thought she should have won at York last time. I always think that York-listed Michael Seeley race is a good race. She got stuck in behind fillies on the far side. Jane Chapel Hines, unbeaten filly, got first runner. I thought she should have won. I just think she's getting £12 off horses that aren't very good. And they're good, but they're not brilliant. And I thought she has a massive chance, really, especially from stall 1 with Oisin Murphy riding. And I presume she'll sit on the back of Sparks Fly and Bright Thunder, who look like to go forward. I think being on that rail is a big advantage on Derby Day, because they open up the ground, especially if it was sort of soft and chewed up on the 3 or 4 out, as what will happen. So I thought she had an obvious chance. Obviously, don't know if what will happen if it gets into a quagmire, but her family liked soft ground, Her dad likes soft ground. Her mum likes soft ground. Can't see any reason why she wouldn't like soft ground. I am scared of Skellet. The only reason I just think that this might be, I always like horses that have had a run in races like this. I always do. I'm loath to tip first time outers, but I think she is the class in the race. I mean, I think her defeat of Check and Challenge and Cash and some good horses at Sandown, where all those horses run well, as a 3-year-old filly beating older horses last year, is quite a bit ahead of Royal Dress and Sirona and Bright Thunder in my eyes. That's the way I look at racing. So I'm scared of her. I just don't know if she'll be, if this will, I expect her to come on for the run. But I think she'll run well. But I think Bermuda Longtail is just like getting £12. She'll be the one for me. I mean, listen, if it becomes a quagmire, then things change, don't they? But on good ground, good soft ground, I think she'll win.
Yeah, okay. You have to go back to 2015 to find a horse winning this on seasonal reappearance. Tom, that was Arabian Queen, who she wasn't too bad, was she, for David Ellsworth. Royal Dress 4-1 favourite then here, but a couple against the field. Sparks Fly. In fact, I had a stat for you, Keels. Where are we? Last 15 years, 10 horses have run in this rate at 110 plus. 5 have won, 3 more have placed, and it's again, it's one of those races where. I mean, if you were backing the best horse in the race at 9-4, well, that's one thing. But the best horse in the race at 8-1 is.
Yeah, I mean, she's that price simply because she ran poorly last time, but she has had a couple of months off before and come back and run well. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, okie doke. Couple against the field then for the opener tomorrow at Epsom. I like Sparks Fly in the first, says Charlie Borg as well. Robert Ballard is with Sirona at 7-1, who I think was probably the one to take out of that Goodwood race last time. It was in a particularly good position. And Tommy Daniels has said exactly what I was thinking as well. A father was a mudder, a mother was a mudder. Bit of a Seinfeld reference for you there. But OK, let's go to Epsom for the second race then, the Diomed Stskes here. Interesting little lineup. Persica and Docklands are 2-1 joint favourites here. Royal Playwright 7-1, Ice Max 7-1, Geography 8, Royal Dubai 11s, Cairo 22s, Brave Emperor has come home after his 3-year gap year, and Tyrrhenian Sea is the outsider of the bunch as well. So we've got a Group 3 here over 1.5 miles of furlong, and I don't know, I'm quite surprised to see Docklands lining up in this race, Tom, as obviously the Queen Anne is just around the corner. The last horse, I think, to win this and then win the Queen Anne was Intercarb in 1998. It's quite a quick turnaround, isn't it? Does this mean that Docklands might well skip Royal Ascot? I don't know. I was surprised to see the horse declared.
It's a little bit surprising. I don't think he'd win at Royal Ascot. I think last year's race was much worse than this year's race is going to be. So I'd be slightly surprised if he won at Royal Ascot. I'm with you though. Epsom. I mean, all his best forms at Ascot. So. It's quite interesting that he's here. A lot depends on the weather, doesn't it? I think Persica's a very good horse with serious holes in him, in that he can he can freak out. He freaked out at Newbury last time before the race, and it's Epsom on Derby Day. So I'd like to see how he behaves before backing him, but. If the rain, I think he's got a very good chance. I don't think a mile is an issue for him at all. I think he'll love running over a mile. He's got course form, so I get him at the top of the market. I also thought obviously the 3-year-old Royal Playwright, Oisin Murphy, Andrew Balding, must have a chance. I think the ground will suit him. He was second to, was it Wimbledon Hawkeye last year in the Royal Lodge on soft ground?
Yep.
I think he'll go well, but I thought, well, it's not the price it was, but when it was 16-1, I thought Ice Max had a chance for just because I thought the ground might be soft. Stall 1, front running. This race has a history of going to front runners from stall 1 or from getting the rail and sort of holding on. He's got pretty good form. He won the Group 2 Celebration Mile last year. I know it wasn't the best ever Celebration Mile, but he did beat Poker Face, who's a very solid Group 2 horse. He did have Royal Dress 11 lengths behind in third, and he didn't run too badly in the QE Tour at all. The problem with him, he's a bit keen. So if he settles and can drop into the front on stall 1, I thought he was a big price at whatever he was, 16-1, 7-1. It's a bit on the short side now for me against Persica, Docklands and Royal Playwright, but I'll stick with him. I'm hoping it rains and Ice Max will go well.
All right, Ice Max, who's a 7-1 shot, like you said, has been well backed in. I mean, Persica's got to have a big chance here, hasn't he? Like you said, he can, like you said, lose his mind a little bit. But Royal Scotsman and Century Dream were both battered in the lock-ins and then came and won this. And despite the fact that Docklands has placed in Group 1 company, he's only got a few pounds to find Persica, and he
doesn't have much to find at all, does he? Well, I mean, the thing about Docklands is he's unpenalised, but he's unpenalised because he never wins.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
his
a big Calandagan, isn't he?
His last win was in the Britannia, and as Tom said, all his best form was at Ascot. I mean, could you think of two different tracks and a straight uphill and a round to left-handed downhill track? Like,
Cartmel, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So he's got that to prove, and he doesn't win. He handles all grounds, Docklands, but just don't like him there. And of course, Persica, he can get a bit buzzy, but he did win on Derby Day last year. He won very easily in the three-year-old handicap. So he's the one to beat. He's the one I think will end up being favourite. Mm-hmm. And I can see the cases for Royal Playwright and Ice Max, but I just thought Geography, just because he's German, as being a little bit undervalued. He's a 3-time Group 3 winner himself. He's officially the 3rd best horse in the race, ahead of Royal Playwright and Ice Max, although he does have a penalty. But he returned from being gelded with quite a big career best to win his 3rd Group 3 at Dusseldorf in April. I'm not telling you I know the form is that strong, but it's it's strong enough for the BHA assessors to rate him not far off the top 2 in the betting. And Peter Shergan originally booked Ryan Moore for this. He had his name down by him on Monday. Don't suppose you can blame Moore for jumping off and getting on a horse that's a lot shorter in the betting, but
and also the Hammond connection as well goes
exactly.
a long way back.
Yeah, I'll take Sumi on anyway. He's a good trainer, Peter Shergan, and he trained Daydream to win an Arc and a King George. He won a Coronation Cup years and years ago. So yeah, I think it's quite interesting.
Okay, it didn't necessarily work today, but I'm going to have a little chip away at a big outsider as well here, and that's Turanian Sea. Roger Varian and Jack Mitchell ran in that Sardinian Warrior race with Docklands back in 2nd, but went off. I mean, chased the front runner who got beat 55 lengths or whatever, but was still on the bridle a furlong from home. Ended up finishing 7th. I don't sound too bad, but they just went so quick, insanely quick. Now, this race has a habit of going to an old time. Oh, This Is Us was 8 years old. Sovereign Debt was 8 years old. Tullius was 8 years old. Regal Reality was 8 years old. Older horses have come on when there's plenty of times. And then I started to think, but all his form's on the all-weather. And then I looked at his turf form. He's run 6 times on the turf. He's run 5 times to an RPR of 100 plus on his 6 runs on the turf. And then I thought, maybe if the ground goes, but the Dam won on soft ground. His half-brother, So I Told You, half-sister won twice on soft ground. Nivaldo, his other half-sister, won on soft ground as well. So, I don't know, I started to talk myself into thinking that Turanian Sea at 33 to 1, 40 to 1 or whatever was a daft price.
He's certainly got form in the book that can make him competitive. I mean, even on Racing Post Racing, it makes him second only to Docklands at these weights.
Yeah.
So you can certainly see the case for him.
Yeah, again, I just it was one of those ones where I thought, he might be a bit overpriced, and the more I looked at it, I thought, oh God, he is overpriced. Oh my God, he really is overpriced. And where will he finish, Tom? 4th, maybe 5th, probably. Run his face off, and.
Yeah, it's just the ground thing for him. I know he's got form on soft ground, but I think horses that tend to keep on the all-weather and don't run on turf that much, they do it for a reason. 1, they like the all-weather, and 2, they probably don't like it that soft, ideally. But, as you say, he's got some form that suggests it's not too bad for him.
Yeah. It's more the pedigree that made me. I think he was a little bit overpriced. That's the Diomed Stskes of the 135. Anything on the chat? Let's have a quick look. No, lovely. Right, moving on then to Epsom. The couple of races that Tom Segal has been waiting for. 5 furlong, 3-year-old dash, and then the dash. In and of itself. I did see that a couple of people on social media, Tom, to be fair, the 3-year-old dash, which we'll get to in a second, we'll leave aside, but the dash in and of itself is such a unique contest that people are saying that it's, it kind of deserves its place on Derby Day because it is so unique. It is literally the purest test of speed for those 5 furlong horses. So that's the defence from...
No, I'm happy to have one of them. It's 2 of them.
Yeah, fair,
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, especially a 3-year-old one when you got
Yeah.
like horses rated 67, and it's Derby Day.
Well, I agree as well, and they've kicked off the 3-year-old handicap off the telly. And
Correct.
Two previous classic winners have won that race.
Yeah.
That's
Like, you know what I mean? And instead we've got it's effectively like a 0 to 93-year-old handicap sprint, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I
And
guess
I like sprints, but I mean it doesn't have its place on TV, I don't think.
well, and also it undercuts the dash is such a unique race. Let's put another one on.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. The dash is a good race, and I'm not nothing against the dash, nothing against the dash at all. But this one, and also the 3 races that come after the Derby that aren't on TV are all
really
better,
good.
really good races.
They're all better than this one.
Yeah, but,
Miles better.
And that's the thing.
but again, and then someone also said the problem is if you have, because of the way the 5 furlong track
crosses
is,
the road,
yeah. So you've got to, if you're going to have 2 of them, you can't really split them up. You've got to have them together. So it does kind of.
Well, you could have the other, but you could have had the 5 furlong 3-year-old one today, couldn't you? It would be no skin off anyone's nose to have that today. I think I guess it's something to do with the ground. They want to keep the ground fresh for the Derby. Have the Derby running on. Maybe they move the rail after the first 2 races to make sure that the Derby. I don't know, but my guess is that's why they do it. But I'm pretty sure they could have that 6 furlong handicap, which has been a tremendous Wokingham trial over the years. Yeah. The way they could run that, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Instead of the 6 furlong race.
But
Anyway, enough of that. We've got a cracker to get stuck
we
into.
have, look, and this is the thing. Look, this is a great Epsom dash trial, isn't it? For next year. But 5 furlongs the distance, as we've been saying, for this 3-year-old dash. Ruby's Profit 100 to 30 against the wind, 5 to 1. Cape Sovereign 6 to 1. Mademoiselle is 6 to 1. Blinky 8 to 1. Nana Sparkle 11. Stormy Impact 12's Glorious Kitty is 14 to 1. But yeah, the fact that you've got horses like Cape Sovereign and Glorious Kitty. I mean, fair play to them, because Midland Park will have a great day out, won't they? They've got a handicap debutant rated 75 turning up on Derby Day with Glorious Kitty. But we've only had 2 run-ins of this 3-year-old one, but it has, on the past couple of run-ins, paid to be very fast early and to be clinging to the rail.
Yeah, clinging to the rail. Now, it's not always the case at Epsom that you need to cling to the rail, but it tends to be when the ground is soft.
Yeah.
Or on the soft side. And last year, what was that? The last year was the winner came from 20, the second came from 17, the third came from 19, the fourth came from 16.
Yeah.
So 15, and the fifth came from 16. So.
And the year before, I think
that's what
Tatstall
you're
was.
looking at.
Yeah.
Tatstall was 13.
He was 13, but he did come across and grab the rail.
Yeah, he came across and got it. It's just hard, and of course, one of the fastest 3-year-old handicap sprinters in training is just happened to be drawn 18 of 18, and that's Ruby's Profit, which is why she's 100 to 30. She is really quick. She might have a little bit of a question to answer on soft ground, but she did run on soft ground once over 6 foot at Newmarket last year and pulled the jockey's arms out for 5 furlongs and just didn't stay the 6th. So I don't think she'll have any profit with it at all. I think she's the one to beat, and you can see the price, but I'm kind of hoping that Blinky will just sit in behind and pick her off.
Yeah.
Because he has form that ties in very close with her, because he was 3rd when she was 2nd at Chester, and she's won since, and is now there's now a £9 turnaround in the race. He's got 11 3/4 to find. He has taken off since moving, rather surprisingly, from Ed Walker to Anthony Britton, who was pretty good with with sprinters. Trains one of our favourites.
Yeah.
No, don't.
Is it? And to be fair, look, that slot is open, so maybe Blinky's the next.
Yeah, so it's the next one, isn't it?
Tom, the next.
The next.
No, I'm not mentioning it. I'm not going there.
Yeah, fair enough.
So anyway, he picked him up for 15 grand at the start of the year and got all that money back almost straight away by winning 2 races on the all-weather, and then that 3rd at Chester when he was only a length and a bit behind the Fav here, Ruby's Profit. So I thought every reason from stall 17 is going to go well.
So you're hoping that Blinky pings the lids?
Absolutely. Oh, he did.
Very good.
Very good, very good.
But he didn't last time.
He didn't last time. No, he just missed it. Half a kick missed it. And he doesn't normally do that. So
it's a lot better than the Jungle Book one.
Yeah, oh God, yeah, that was tortured, wasn't it? That was tortured. But anyway, what did you like in the 3-year-old dash, Tom Segal?
Listen, I get Keels' draw stats, and that's absolutely fine, and he's right. The stats tell you that high draw on soft ground is key, but they priced them up like the ones on the far side haven't got any chance. And then I went back and watched the Tattersall race, and stall 3 was second, and stall 6 was right up there. You know what I mean? It was good ground. But there's also the chance that if everyone keeps talking about it, that they all go that way, and then it becomes a complete mashup. So listen, I've had a few quid on Stormy Impact, simply because she's got some very good form with some very good fillies. She was only just behind First Instinct and Majestic Sky and Morlan, all those sort of fillies last year. I thought she ran a cracking race on her comeback against Invictus Gold, is it? I thought that was a really good race at Newmarket. Always is a good race, and she was bang there. And amazingly, being by study of man, she's going to love dropping back to 5. She's got tons of pace. And the final 2 reasons why I thought she might well, and she was a big price earlier in the day, was Richard Fahey. His horses have just taken off in the last week. And Warren Fentiman, who I think is outstanding value for his £5 claim. And that puts her in with a decent form chance on what she's shown. Now, she's drawn in stall 7, which obviously isn't great, but against the Wind, who is a blaster, who will give Ruby's Prophet a run for his money, her money from the gates, is in 6 next door to a Stormy Impact. So I'm hoping that it's not a massive disadvantage being out there, and if that's the case, I think Stormy Impact might run really well.
Okay. Again, a great case made for a race you wish didn't exist. Okay, moving on then.
And it looked at one.
To the dash itself, the original and the best. Gerbat 4-1, JM Jungle 6-1, Spartan Arrow 7-1, Clarendon House 9-1, Democracy Dilemma 9-1, Vintage Clarets 10-1, Fair Wind 10-1, Dream Composer 11-1, and bigger prices the rest. Plenty of old favourites or winners of this race as well, just some very, very fast sprinters, as you would imagine. In fact, there's the opposite of old favourites. I half fancy a horse that I, for the first 18 months of his career, thought was an absolute dodgepot, and suddenly have come around. But that's what happens with sprinters, isn't it? Sometimes things just click, and they need to click in this race. Again, you need that early pace to clear the 20,000 other horses and get into a nice early position. The fact that Gerbat is so prominent in the betting, given we've got Ossian Murphy booked, but also very shrewd connections, and you get the feeling that the speedy 5 furlong summer handicaps have been the angle with him. But I don't know, he takes a lot out of the market. JM Jungle does as well.
It's interesting, Ross, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting that you got those runners on the board there, and nearly all of them are drawn in single figures. I think there's three of them are drawn high. You got Vintage Clarets and Dream Composer and Democracy Dilemma and JM Jungle and Gerbat all in single figures, aren't they? Which, if Keels is right and the rain comes and it's a massive draw advantage, they will be up against it. Yeah, they will be up against it.
I mean, it'll be fascinating if it does go the way of high numbers on the previous race, because there'll be a hell of a market upheaval. You'd have thought
exactly.
Afterwards.
Well, but like you said about the market, sometimes funny is it? Sometimes it feels like you've got 2 races over the course and distance, and you think, and the 3-year-old race, it's like fast horses, high draw. The market goes, we're going with those. And then it almost ignores the draw completely and goes, well handicapped horses who run really well in these races, never mind the draw. The draw doesn't matter. So,
I saw some races at Lingfield last week where loads of horses were being backed when they had no chance of getting onto that rail. Yeah. And lo and behold, every single race on the straight track was won by the horse that got on the rail. And that's the kind of, I hate that about Lingfield, because it's not. There are plenty of tracks where you know where you need to be drawn, you know where your trap position is, but Lingfield feels like it's roulette. Like you spin the wheel, and it's not necessarily. It's not like at Wolverhampton, for example. I don't want to be buried down the inside if it's a 14-runner handicap. I want to be on the outside. But Lingfield feels like whoever gets to that rail wins. That's it. Yeah. And it feels a bit like that in this contest. A lot of the time, the draw just helps you do that. It's your early pace that's the key, Keels. Yeah, well, absolutely, it is, and hopefully I've got one at a big price, because I backed a Bell Conductor
Okay,
He's out of stall 17. He's one of a few horses I backed him on with new yards. He went to Ivan Furtado from Craig Lidster. Now, first time out for him this year, he was terrible. He was 12 and 13 at Segal, but he was tugging like mad from the front over 6 furlongs, which isn't really his trip, although he has won over it. He's a 7-time winner on fast ground, on over 5 furlongs, made all for nearly all of them.
Yeah.
One of them on heavy ground last spring, and he's got winning form on pretty much any surface.
Yeah.
So it all depends on whether he's well handicapped, and he's well enough after a terrible ride. But he's got a different jockey on now, Tom Eves, and they will go for it from the off, won't they? From stall 17. So I just thought he was very interesting because he was 40 to 1 early on.
Interesting to see. He's won on his...
He was handicapped. He's won on his. Go on.
I was going to say he's won on his second start. He keeps changing yards, but he changes yards and gets in really good form for the new yard, then goes off a bit. So it might be a good thing.
Yeah, it's funny that when you say that. He was 13th of 13 at Segal, first time out for Craig Lidster last year, and then won.
Yeah.
So 12 of 13, and so, but let's hope that repeats itself, because I'll definitely take that. Other one I backed is Desert Cop. I'm not sure about him on the ground, but it looks like he's improved for going to George Baker, who you'd be pretty certain would be really love to have a winner at Epsom on Derby Day, since he's just moved to Epsom at Downs House. He moved in January, and he's been in really good form in Bahrain since leaving Andrew Balding. He's actually a brother to Desert Law, who won the race in 2015. Don't really know about the ground, but he's come back. He's a bit high, he's about £6 higher than he was when he left Andrew Balding, but he was higher still as a younger horse. And if the rain isn't an issue, then I think he'll run well as well.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, was he not sort of? Did he not run
I
really
think he
well?
was 6th to Bradsell.
Yeah, I was going to say.
In the for King Charles, whatever it's called, King Stand.
King Stand, whatever it's
Charles. No, it is. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Again, the horse I mentioned earlier that I used to hate, but have sort of changed my mind a bit, was No Go's Dream, who I just didn't think he wanted to win for 2 seasons, but he's won 2 races from the front recently, and his 2 races where he's got beaten, he's had no chance for his track position and has coasted home and looked quite like he's still in good form. But what did you like in this 5 furlong speedball contest, Tom?
I know more about Tipping Point than I do about this 5 furlong sprint handicap, Ross. So very little.
Good news, Tom. I took Robbie. I applied for Tipping Point as well this morning, so it's your go next.
Will not be applying for Tipping Point, I can assure you of that. Listen, it's not my type of race. I am a bit of a fan of Fair Wind as a racehorse, despite the fact they refused to race 2 starts ago and finish last, or nearly last. Yeah, finished last at Chester on his comeback run. I just remember him at Ascot cantering through a soft ground race and winning like he had £25 in hand, and he's literally not run once and finished last the next time. But I think there are excuses at Chester. He came out of the stalls fine. He was drawn right on the outside. He hit the rail 2.5 furlongs out. I just could see him running well.
Okay, there we go. Thank you very much. Lovely stuff. Right, never mind that. Let's get on to the big race of the day, of the week. I was going to say of the month, but it's probably not actually, is it, really? It depends on your opinion, but there's plenty of them to come in a couple of weeks. But this year's Derby, of course, we'll be running honour of the Ard Carnival. It's nice to see Midak come over and carry those wonderful silks potentially to victory. As I know that Tom, you might fancy him to run a big race, but it's Delacroix who's 3-1 favourites here. Pride of Arras is 9-2, Rolling Court 5-1, the Lion and Winter 7s, Lambourn 9s, Midak 12s, Damascus 14s, Stanhope Gardens is 14s. As for the rest, you've got Tennessee Stud in there, Nightwalker, New Ground, Tornado Alert, Tuscan Hills, Lazy Griff, Sea Scout, Al Wasselstorm, Greenstorm, Nighttime Dancer, and Rogue Impact. So look, we've got a big field here. 19 of them run, but I think, quite frankly, anything on the second page or even on their own third page, I think we'd be a little bit disappointed if we had the Derby winner from those runners. So in theory, we've got 8 to concentrate on, but let's see if we can pick out one to back, maybe one to lay, and a big price outsider who might not win, but certainly can outrun their odds. But let's go through the contenders one by one fairly sharpishly. But Delacroix 3-1 favourite. Now he keeps winning, obviously. and he keeps winning for connections who keep winning, and jockeys, and a jockey who keeps winning.
And they keep winning derbies.
And they keep winning derbies. Pedigree, not necessarily Derby, an obvious Ballydoyle Derby winner.
Oh, by a mile out of Mile, Dubai was obviously a non-stand third in the Derby. He's been a sire for the best part of 20 years now, isn't he? One of the world's greatest sires, but the best he's ever had in the Derby is 3 5th places himself. So there are question marks. He has looked very good when he's won slow run races at Leopardstown twice this season. And Ryan Moore's chosen him, or Ryan Moore's been told to ride him, one or the other, but he's on. That's the Ballydoyle #1. That's default favourite, whatever way you want to look at it. And you could argue that on form he almost deserves to be anyway. So he's got a great he's got a great chance. He looks good. If there's a superstar in the race, it's probably him. But will he stay? I'm not convinced. Just not convinced. But I've been not convinced about plenty of O'Brien horses when it comes to the Derby, and they keep on winning.
And part of the fact is,
I'll do my normal thing and back a couple of rags,
Yeah.
and it won't be that, but it won't surprise me if he wins.
Yeah, and it's like, it doesn't matter whether we're convinced, it's whether Ballydoyle and Ryan Moore are convinced,
Exactly,
doesn't it? Pride of Arras to you then, Tom, because he absolutely dotted up at Sandown last year, and then we didn't see him till York last month, and then he, pretty much dotted up again. He keeps taking each run in his stride.
I'm going to sound like a man that has a load of each anti-post bets, but I don't. I don't have that many, but I did back Pride of Arras after he won at Sandown last year at 66-1 for the Derby. So I'm sitting on a nice but I don't really fancy him. I think he can run well. I just think when I say I don't fancy him, I don't like the price.
Yeah,
is what I don't like. I think
I'll
York
tell you
form...
what, I'll have. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the price either. But if you've got any of that 66 going, I'll have a bit of that if you want. But yeah, obviously ignoring the price, what's the case for him? What are his strengths?
Well, he's 2 from 2. He's unbeaten. He's won the Dante. He's got in, and I thought he was the best horse every step of the way in the Dante. You know what I mean? He was, at that time, the Rafe Beckett horses were really struggling in the trials. He drifted markedly. He started 18-1 to win the Dante. So I'm expecting him to take a big step forward. He travelled and looked like a horse that had loads of pace, which is slightly concerning considering his pedigree is all about 2 miles and lots of hurdlers and stuff like that. But I don't know. I like him. I like him a lot. I hope he wins, clearly. Slightly, I don't know. There was just like a weird Dante. All the 5 of the first 6 or 4 of the first 5 were the outsiders of the field, basically.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I mean, listen, if he was coming in on 12-14-1, I'd be thinking, blimey, that's a good bet. But I don't know at 4-1 on the day. Hopefully he wins for me. For me, none of the rest of you lot out there. For me,
yeah.
At 66-1.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, well, we haven't got time to go too much into it, but first off, it's only New Bay's second runner in a Group 1 over a mile and a half. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes in terms of future glory for such a fantastic sire. But also, that kind of partly that's what the Dante is, isn't it, Keels? You do get weird ones because a lot of the time trainers are just going, let's just see if they're any good, and you find out on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that goes for all classic trials, but I mean, I think the Dante is a little bit better because that's where people like to run their best one quite often. Not always, but quite often.
Ruling court now. There's a possibility that he's not going to run. Is that?
Well,
is that true?
I think Charlie Appleby said they don't want any more rain on ITV today. I mean, I don't think he's got a prayer in hell anyway. To be honest, I don't think he'll stay, and he definitely won't stay in the ground, and he won't act on the ground because he's by Justify. So, more rain. No point in laying him. No, he's been on the drift. It's one of those. He's gone on the drift today because of all of that. And I went, why are you bothering laying him if he doesn't run?
Yeah.
But then if they do let him go, if they do let him run, he's just going to drift further to my eyes if there's plenty of rain. Connection, no, he doesn't want it.
Well, and also, there is an alternate universe where he hasn't won the Guineas.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong. I think he's a very good horse.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But he shouldn't have won the Guineas anyway. And what price would he have been if he'd been second in the Guineas?
Yeah.
We'll say he was second in the Guineas and he might not stay.
Yeah.
He's 12s, isn't he?
Yeah.
which is what he might end up being, judging by the exchange moves at the moment.
I just think, guys, that after today, after Desert Flower, he'll drift, won't he?
Yeah.
He'll drift. Whether you fancy him or not, you don't want to be taking 5-1. I don't think.
No, absolutely not. I'd be surprised if he doesn't either not run or swaps with the Lion and Winter and Lambourn in the market. The Lion and Winter is 7-1. Now he was obviously comfortably beaten in the Dante. It was a weird old run, but we've seen the O'Brien horses come on hugely for their first run. Again, Jan Bruegel today was the example that I gave last night with the stats. And actually, when you watch the Dante back, he does run really well. I thought he coasts home back again for sixth, but he did get buzzed up. And last 27 years, the widest stall in the Derby, 0 wins and only 3 places. So he's clearly a very, very good horse, Tom. But yeah, his form and his aura has taken quite a heavy knock, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the long run, he could still be the best horse in the race. But I just think everything is against him tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think obviously the draw, I'm not convinced he's a 1.5 mile horse. All the metrics guys will tell you that he's not going to stay. His pedigree says he is.
He's an eclipse in my eyes. I looked at him. I thought that he's an eclipse horse.
I think he could be a miler at the end of the day. I think he even could drop back to a mile. I think he's quick. He pulled. He's got. I went through it myself because I'm a bit of a nerd and I like to work these things out. He had the shortest stride of any of the runners in the Dante. Now, that can obviously change. Maybe he was injured or maybe something was wrong or maybe that wasn't his real stride. Who knows? But my elementary physics tells me if you don't run, if your stride's not very long, you have to use your legs really, you have to turn it over much quicker. And if that doesn't make him out to be a Derby horse for me, I could be wrong, but he's got trap 19. He pulls hard. The ground might have gone against him. Don't know. Not for me.
Yeah. I've backed Lambourn, and I, in contrast to what Tom said about going off Pride of Arras, I'm warming to it even more, especially after how well Wayne Lorden rode World today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and he might get that similar sort of ride, mightn't he? Be up there all the way because he's going to stay.
Yeah.
He did have face fitness against Lazy Griff when he won at Chester. He was well on top at the end, won by 11.5, but it just proved that he stayed, didn't he? And he's one of those thoroughly uncomplicated horses who's a guaranteed stay at, guaranteed to run his race.
If he gets a clean shot at it, he's just going to keep going and going and going.
It's not going to be a surprise if he turns out the best of the Ballydoyle ones for this particular race.
Yeah.
Because we've got doubts about the Lion and Winter especially, but there's also about Delacroix staying. And if he turns out to be the strongest stayer, he might be their best hope. And it would be surprised you if it was beaten a neck by Delacroix, just as well was beaten a neck by Mini Hawk today. He's got to be a massive player, I think.
Yeah, and he's got. I mean, again, Australia. I mean, Broome, Shamida, Lambourn, Port Fairy, Adelaide River have all won Group Race a 1.5 mile. In fact, the Yards had run 14 horses over 1.5 mile by Australia, and 9 individual winners from those 14 runs. So Ballydoyle plus Australia is a bit of a match made in heaven, I think. And yeah, I don't know. I thought when Delacroix beat him, if I watched that race, I watched that race back, Tom, and I thought there's only one horse in here. I think, I'd want to see them over 1.5 miles, and it wasn't Delacroix.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that he's a 1.5 mile horse. Just whether he's classy enough, isn't he?
Yeah,
isn't it? That's the key. If he gets into a slog, then I think you give him a better chance. Although he did run very badly on soft ground last year, didn't he? He was last in and they used him as a pacemaker. I don't, what I mean? They never really thought he was that brilliant.
Yeah.
But he clearly has turned himself in an over in the winter, and clearly going up in trip, and 1.5 miles is going to be his thing. I think he's about. I don't know. I'm not sure I want to back him at 9-1, but I get the idea of him being a potential Derby winner, if the conditions deteriorate. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't think he's classy enough to win a normal Derby, but this might not be one.
Yeah, fair enough. He would 100% be the first horse to win the Derby after breaking his maiden at Killarney and then winning a listed race at Crayon. So that's. But again,
where is Crayon? You've got to have a pad on Crayon. You've drawn it. I don't know. You draw it up for me or something when you're rusty.
I'll have a think. I'll come back to you and I'll scribble one down. And I don't know. I've got nothing. But like you said, this might not be a normal Derby. I mean, just to go back to, for example, Delacroix, for example. I mean, the last Ballysax winner to win this was Harzan back in 2014. The last the Derby trial that he won last year, the last horse to win the Derby out of that was High Chaparral in 2002. So even he's not following the typical Ballydoyle favourite route for the Derby, is he? So tell us about Midak, Tom, because you messaged me earlier saying, what do you think of Midak? And I said something back, and you basically said, that's nonsense, he'll definitely stay, he'll run a big race.
Well, I was just going through it, and when he was 16, 20 to 1 or whatever he was last night, and I've been going around in circles because I love the Derby, so I've been looking at it at every angle for weeks and weeks on end, and then it just struck me, you got an unbeaten horse that's going to stay the trip, that's won a recognised trial in France, that's trained by a trainer that is exceptionally good, and he's 20 to 1. If he'd run in England, why wouldn't he have been half the price? Now he is half the price now, to be fair, and I think he's about the right price. But he's just an unbeaten horse that has won all his races very easily. So I was just sitting there thinking, why am I making a case for these horses that keep losing when you got a horse that keeps winning?
Yeah.
Simple as. And I just thought, stall 4, I think he'll stay. I don't think he'll mind the ground. I mean, I'm pretty sure he'll stay, to be honest. He's already won over a mile 3 twice. I don't think he'll mind soft ground. And I just watched his 3 wins, and he just looked like one of those relentless metronomic gallopers that was going to could do a High Chaparral or a Serpentine, or one of those winners that could just get into a good position early on and just gallop.
Yeah. And
that might be good enough if the Delacroix and the Ruling Courts and the Lion and Winters don't stay. So I was just sitting there thinking, that was my train of thought. He could be very good. I don't know. Obviously, he's in France, but it's the same as lots of the others, except he's won all his races. And I don't know, just thought 20 to 1 was a big price. Now 12 to 1, I still think that's a fair price.
Yeah, again, footsteps in the sands siring a Derby winner would be something to behold, wouldn't it? But again, that's the other thing as well, isn't it? In terms of, Ballydoyle might lose, but again, we were saying it earlier, the big connections, they lose, but they win anyway because, that helps with the page of the...
Absolutely, yeah.
The side that winner.
Yeah.
Damasus...
The thing about the Aga Khan is he always used weird sires. They always have used weird sires.
Stamina's on the other side, isn't it? Yeah, Stamina's on the other side.
The Stamina's all on the dam side, yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like you could get an...
I would be staggered if he doesn't stay.
Well, you could get an Aga Khan dam and take her to Zebedee or something, and she'd probably stay a mile and a half, wouldn't she? So, Stanhope Gardens and Damasus, either of those two have an opinion from you, kids?
Yeah, I'm quite a fan of Stanhope Gardens. I just always thought to myself that Rafe Beckett thought this was his Derby horse last year, and he's pretty much said as much a couple of times in the past couple of weeks, including yesterday. He's telling people not to, don't rule him out, etc. And I wouldn't mind betting that there is next to nothing between him and Pride of Arras in Beckett's mind. It sounds like that to me. And the fact that he had his setback and they were so desperate to get his run into him that they were going to run him in a 7-furlong handicap off 9 stone 12 off a mark of 111 until they got this race put on at Salisbury where he could have a run over a mile. Just tells me they're absolutely desperate. I mean, if you think you've got a Group 1 horse and it might not be a good idea to rush him if he's coming back from an injury at all, but they're so desperate to run him, and I just think he's going to run well. He's only got a neck to find with Delacroix on Group 3 form from last year, hasn't he? And we know he handles softish ground. I'd like to, I hope he run a lot better than Revoir did today.
I hope he's in a better position early on than Revoir.
A better position early, yeah, and it'll be harder to get that better position as well, won't it, with 19 runners? But and from the dreaded stall 2. But I think he's a horse with a lot of ability, and I think he'll stay. I think Damasus will stay as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, there is an argument to say that again, Damasus was the one to take out of the York race. Again, he was given a hell of a lot to do, and Pride of Arras nipped through and quickened up, and he just galloped on relentlessly, didn't he? And James Doyle takes over for the first time since his
I've got a theory on Damasus, Ross.
Yep.
I thought Kieran Schumacher rode him exactly like he rode Field of Gold in the 2000 Guineas. He was following the horse. He was following the Lion in Winter. He got a bit unlucky. This was unluckier because he was following the Lion in Winter, thinking because that was Lion in Winter was a red hot favourite that day. And he waited and waited and waited. And by the time he realised that the Lion in Winter wasn't going anywhere, Pride of Aris was 3 lengths in front of him. So I could see that form being turned around. I give Damasus a chance for sure.
Yeah. I kind of thought, so you watch the replay back and, like you said, he's dead-eyed on Ryan Moore, isn't he? And then he goes past him and he looks over and... I mean, to be fair, he rode the race to perfection in that regard because he beat everything he could see. To a certain extent.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's loads of others in here, but we're going to have to rattle on. So let's boil it down then. One to back, one to lay, and an outsider who might outrun the odds. Tom Segal.
Well, the one to back is Midak for me. The one to lay is I'll just go to the top of the market, Delacroix. I'll lay Delacroix just on the stamina doubts, and at a big price, I think Tennessee Stud will run a big race for Joseph O'Brien. Just a relentless galloper, strong stayer. I thought he could hit the frame. He's a Group 1 winner. Very few Group 1 winners in the race. I know it was a 3-runner race, but he still was a Group 1, and I give him a shot to run into the frame.
Okay. Same question to you, Keels. One to back, one to lay.
Yeah, back Stanhope Gardens. I would lay Ruling Court if he runs all the places as well, as many as you can get. Can't have him at all. And Lazy Griff.
Okay.
Second to Lambourn in that Chester race. Charlie Johnson said before, and he was only about 80% fit, desperately needed a run, said he wants a bit of cut in the ground. He'll definitely stay by a Melbourne Cup winner, German protectionist. It was a dual 1.5 mile winner as well on soft ground in Germany. So, I just thought, bookmakers off in 4 places. Big price.
Yeah, and there's been plenty of horses to run into the
frame.
frame.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be one of those. Yes, loads of horses are running in the big prices. Yes, why not have a pop at a couple, especially in a race that looks as open as this? We all know what that happens. All the others behind Delacroix will drift. He'll go off at 7-4 and hack up.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got one to back. Like I said, Lambourn. I do think he's the solid one, but he might well run into a Delacroix. I would lay the Lion in Winter win and place personally. I do think things have just conspired against him this season. I think he will be better, like you said, Tom. I think they'll probably end up dropping back to at least 10 furlongs next time out. And at a big price, I mean there isn't that many at a big price, but I guess Damasus was a slightly bigger price. But there's nothing at huge prices I thought would actually 100% get involved. New ground maybe, but again, as you said, how many horses have been beaten into small field in listed contests and then gone on and won the Derby? But I do think new ground is a little bit interesting if you compare the price of him to the price of Midak. But yeah, I'd back Lambourn and I'd lay the Lion in Winter, I think, for the Derby. Quickly on the chat before we rattle through the last few races on Derby Day. What have we got? Any strong fancies? There's all sorts of chat going on, but not much on the Derby. Offworld says, I think Midak could win, to be honest. Ian Sunderland says Lambourn is this Derby's Los Angeles. Yeah, I kind of could see that. And the Lion in Winter is going to be a pacemaker, says Offworld, which would be quite interesting if he tracked over from that wide box to be sacrificed out in front, as it were. Anyway, 3 more to... is it 3 more to go? Yeah, 3 more to go on Derby Day. Then let's rattle through these. Again, if only they were on earlier on the card. 1.5 miles the distance for this handicap. Valvano 3-1, Small Fry 4, Sam Hawkins 7s, 4-1 Fever 15-2, 9-1 Asgard's captain, and bigger the rest. It's a shame the Derby's on the card because this 17-runner handicap is an absolute banger. It would be fantastic on any other day, wouldn't it, Keels?
Absolutely, you'd be really looking forward to it, wouldn't you? Unfortunately, the two at the top of my shortlist were Valvano and Small Fry, who are first and second favourite. I just favour Small Fry, who's a course and distance winner, by a Derby winner. He went really well for Ashley Lewis last time at Chester, so I think he won well. I will throw one in at a massive price. I have backed the 11-year-old Torcello. Is it in this race?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is in this race.
Is that for this race or the Great Wood later in
the season? Great Wood, selling handicap with Cartmel, I don't know. But no, he's got plenty of back form. He's got loads of soft ground winning form, including at the likes of here and Goodwood. And he's not actually badly handicapped on what he was doing last year. And if the rain gets into the ground, he can be one of those that outruns his odds. But I expect the front two are quite well handicapped.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's small fry particularly. Big eye catcher here on his penultimate start. And I know that form hasn't worked out at Chester, but I don't know. I get the feeling he's got plenty more to offer. But Tom?
I mean, Valvano is a horse I've got plenty of time for, but I've had plenty of time for him a lot of times, and he's not won many of them. So I'm a bit worried about him in the cheek pieces. First time small fries obviously got a chance. I think I'm always drawn to an Ian Williams horse in this race and on this day, because he tends to have a very good record on it. So I thought Dream Harder might run well at a price, but I'm with you. I think small fry might win this.
All right.
And the only thing I'd say is that will he be able to have his full claim? I'm not sure he can, but he'll still get down to 8 stone 1 or whatever he's done in the past. So he might not be able to get the 7 off.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, fair enough. Because he's coming, 8-6. So yeah, it might do if he does an even week. Yeah, potentially. But takes a couple of layers of skin off. I don't know. I don't know how it works. But 5 o'clock at Epsom then is next. The 3-year-old handicap here over 10 furlongs. A really interesting race again here. Meblesh, lovely pedigree, making his handicap debut 7-2. Chartwell Jock 4-1. Warhawk 9-2 with Grecian Legacy. The Trickster Hornsey Bay 5-1 and 9-1. Barred those. Meblesh did well to get up and win at Newbury last time out in a traditionally quite good maiden. But open race here. Tom, what did you like?
I thought Meblesh was plenty short enough, if truth be told. I like the Trickster as a horse. I just think he does a lot. He just tries hard and will run well again. But I also thought I might give another chance to Hornsey Bay, recently gelded Hornsey Bay, just because he was very well backed to win at Newmarket last time. I think the trip was too short, the ground was too fast. He's always been very highly regarded. He had a Dante entry earlier in the season, so maybe the gelding operation will sort him out.
All right, lovely stuff. And the gritted tea from Kealy suggests that
absolutely. I was going
to
literally mention 2 horses, the Trickster and Hornsey Bay, with Hornsey Bay being the selection for them very much so. So the horse watchers like having winners here. Like having horses run well here, don't they? Ross Colin was going for his 3rd win at the meeting today and ran really well again. And that can be used the gelding can be used as an excuse for the improvement after 2 poor runs this year. He has looked a bit free. He might need to grow up a little bit, and that might work. And yes, he is very much bred to want further than he's been running at. So he'd be for me. But I do think it's possibly the trickiest race of the day, because they are all unexposed, and there are loads of them that are very promising.
Yeah, agree. But I do. The Trickster again. This horse. I mean, 2 runs this season. He hasn't settled for a second in either of those two races, and he's still kept going and going and going. I mean, he plugged on really well at Ascot last time out, and I do think if it absolutely tips it down, he'll have perfect conditions, and Jason Hart riding well at the moment as well. So I think he's really interesting. Final race at Epsom on Derby Day is a 6 furlong handicap. As you said, a good pointer for the Woking, and potentially Tom. 13 of them line up here, and Circa is 4-1, or Circe. Eye of Dubai is 5-1, Sondad 11-2, Get It 6-1, Rousing Encore 7s, 8-1, Drama 17-2, Stripe Red and Badgery. Some old friends in here as well, and you like one at a half decent price.
Stripe Red, trained by Richard Fahey. Good to see him going well today. He was in career best form last year, at the end of last year, when he won a 21 soft ground handicap at York. He's 3 from 5 on soft ground. He's also won a 21 valuable handicap at the Curragh. And he's come out this year and he's run pretty well. He's not far off his career best form on all 3 starts, particularly when second at Leicester on good ground, the only time he ran on turf. He wasn't beaten far in this race last year. If the ground is any softer, he's got to be a massive player.
All right, Stripe Red then for Richard Farr. You had a very good day at Epsom today. Tom Segal?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big price I thought was quite interesting was Solar Acclaim for Julie Camacho. And the reason I thought it was quite interesting is the jockey booking. Patrick McGettigan, has been really catching the eye in Ireland this year for Johnny Murtagh. He's come over. He rode a couple of winners for the Nick Bradley Racing Syndicate, and one of Johnny Murtagh's. I can't remember the name of it, but and they've obviously got him over to ride this horse in this race. He had some very good soft ground form at the end of last season. He was third to Cover Up and Gerbat in that 5 furlong race at Doncaster. That worked out pretty well, and he stayed on really strongly. He's a 6 furlong horse at heart. He likes soft ground. And I just thought the jockey booking was interesting. They wouldn't be bringing him over if this horse had no chance.
Yeah, Julie Camacho is going well as well. But I can't believe they haven't booked Patrick McGettit again to ride Get It Again in this 540 at Epsom. Really, I thought this was a really tough end to it. Oh, by the way, Crayon, we could have waxed lyrical about the film from Crayon. There we go. That's just come. Better late than never. But I thought this was really tough, wasn't it? I have Dubai. I love the ground. I was quite impressed with Sondad. I quite like him. I'm not sure box 13 soft ground around Epsom is necessarily ideal, but he's a big boat of a horse, and he just when things go to plan, he keeps running well in 6 furlong handicaps. I think he will win a very nice race at some point this season. Whether it's tomorrow, we don't know. Okay, that's Derby Day done and dusted then. Here's an ad followed by the naps. All right, best bets on Derby Day then. Starting off with you, Paul Kealy.
Yeah, I quite like Blinky in the 3-year-old Dash, the race that Tom hates.
Yeah, is that partly why you like him so much?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Tom, best bet on Derby Day.
The good thing about that is that normally I'm always second or third, Ross, and I always come in and someone's taken my nap. So I can guarantee you it will not be in the 5 furlong sprint handicap. It'll be in the first race, Bermuda Longtail.
Okay, Bermuda Longtail then in the first. Partly tempted to nap to Radiant Sea just because it's such a huge price in that second race. But I do think the Trickster will run a bit of a blinder in the 3-year-old handicap. So we'll go for the Trickster. All right, great. And just to reiterate again, Derby selection or the one you hope will win, Tom?
Well, Midak. I like Midak. I just think he's underrated.
But your bank account hopes Pride of Arras.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And Gills?
I'd be hoping that Stanhope Goldman's. I'm hoping for an upset of some sort. Anyway, I'm going to do loads of exactas and trifectas and leave out the first 4, see what goes off, see what happens.
Right.
So I should put the Ballydoyle for 3 in a forecast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And I hope Lambourn runs a blinder in the Derby. Right. Enjoy Derby Day. That's it from us, and we'll be back for Royal Ascot week. So get ready for that. It's going to be an absolute corker.